One Piece 1007 Plus. Vegapunk Improved Queen? Oden Regeneration based on genetic factors? Hello everyone, welcome back to Top Shounen. In the last chapter 1007, apart from the shocking steering phase, about the return of Kozuki Oden, there is still another extremely remarkable detail, related to his hypothesis 3 months ago. In the video you guys are seeing on the screen, I talked in great detail about Kaido being arrested, Vegapunk doing his body research at Punk Hazard. As a result of the research, the numbers are disabled, along with Momonosuke's artificial devil fruit. For unknown reasons, Vegapunk cancelled both projects, but I also made a hypothesis about Kaido's race, as well as the SSG system in that video, you can review it for reference. In chapter 1007, CP0 confirmed that, saying once, Kaido was captured by the Navy, Vegapunk used his genetic device, to find a way to synthesize the artificial devil fruit. However, the lineage factor, or genetic factor, was not the result of Vegapunk alone, but was discovered by the Vinsmoke judge, as they researched together in the Outlaw Scientific Group. In chapter 840, Yanji told Sanji this story. As soon as the world authorities learned of it, they assumed this power was too great for a human, and immediately captured Vegapunk. The rest of the team was quickly forced to disintegrate. So sure, apart from Vegapunk and Vinsmoke judge, there are still a few other characters who belong to this research group. The world government only took away the best scientist, the rest was forced to disband. And the other scientists, there are people, which organizations are they working for? Queen Plague is one of them? Also, is the genetic factor mentioned by CP0 relevant to Oden's return? Today, Top Shounen will join you to explore this very interesting topic. 1. Vegapunk, Judge, and Queen? How did Vegapunk improve the Queen? First, I will talk about the relationship between the Queen and the Vinsmoke judge, when he held Sanji's wanted flyer in his hand, paying special attention to his father. On his tape there is Judge's son, no joke. Vinsmoke judge, from Muden to Onigashima, the Queen has shown disdain for supernovas, including Luffy. However, he especially praised Sanji's surname, emphasizing Vinsmoke judge's name twice. It shows that the Queen knows him well, but he has been following Kaido to Wano since before Oden's return. That means at least 25 years the Queen has been here, not going anywhere. Everything outside of Wano has given Jack the drought. While the Vinsmoke clan ruled over the North Blue Sea, it was impossible for them to meet. Therefore, I am sure that Queen and Judge used to have time to cooperate in a group of scientists dissolved by the government. Since the Beast Pirates are named after the deck of cards, so King, Queen, or Jack is definitely not the real name. I think Father Sanji and Vegapunk just know what Queen's name is. In addition, there are a number of suspect figures, the commander of the Lingberg Revolution, with the Guy Caesar clown. However, there is not much information or evidence about them, so I just dare to confirm that Vegapunk, Vinsmoke judge, and Queen are in the same group. And here, I accidentally discovered online a French-Belgian comic, called The Adventures of Asterix. Asterix and Obelix, the two main protagonists, are Gothic boys, taking the magic potion of a mage and possessing unrivaled strength. Together they stand shoulder to shoulder, experiencing many adventures in the space of old Western Europe. Over the past 60 years, the couple Asterix and Obelix have been seen as representative of the French personality, humorous, brave. At first glance, we can see that Queen is very similar to Obelix, big fat, funny, also very strong and brave. He had just been knocked down by Big Mom, but still stood up immediately, declaring that Wano is Mr. Kaido's territory, don't dream of me letting her miraculous, still has a comical expression. And Asterix is probably like Lingberg, is a small warrior, using intelligence to defeat the enemy. This character's fists have magic, but Lingberg corresponds to advanced science. In addition to the two main characters, there are Getafix and Vital Statistics, the four of whom have a close relationship. And the following two names are worth mentioning. Getafix is the village's #1 brain, he is known for his magic potion that enhances his powers. Getafix also acts as a doctor, and occasionally a teacher. Asterix, and most other villagers, will consult him whenever something weird happens. He does not fight, but only likes to invent and invent. At the same time is also a person of high morality, refusing to do inhumane experiments, even when ordered. He was coveted by the Romans because of his wonderful ability. That is the world's #1 scientist Vegapunk in One Piece, although never revealed, but the most advanced weapons of the Navy are created by him. In addition, Vegapunk also stopped researching artificial devil fruit, for fear of that huge power would fall into the hands of the government. And he objected to Caesar Clown's inhumane way of turning children into giants. As for the character like Vinsmoke judge, named Vital Statistics is the head of the village, and is carrying his human shield. It is the same way the clones serve as a wall for the judge, who is also king of the Germa kingdom. With these correlations, it can be said that Oda uses a little foreign material to shape the group of outlaw scientists. After being dissolved, Vegapunk was arrested, Vinsmoke Judge returned to build up the army of Germa 66. While the Plague Queen worked as a pirate, Lingberg joined the revolution. And in this research group, each person is good at a particular subject, in 3 subjects: physics, chemistry, biology. As for Vegapunk, he is probably a genius, talented at all, but most physically biased. And Vinsmoke Judge is more biotic, with genetic engineering and genetics in the top 1 in the world. Meanwhile, the cold gun weapon and the back-flying device, used by Lingberg in Chapter 904, have a chemical bias, similar to that of the Caesar clown. Back with the Plague Queen, he is also a talented biologist, but specializes in dirty weapons research. Caesar clown used chemical weapons, the Queen used biological weapons, with viruses such as mummies, demon ice. Therefore, I am more confident that the SSG system will be involved in the ultimate weapon of mass destruction, after One Piece comes out with chemical and biological weapons. Specifically, in the video about Kaido's race, with the SSG system, I predict that Vegapunk will invent an extremely terrible thing, which will be tested by the Navy in the secluded country, Wano. It will be like the atomic bomb ever dropped by the US on Japan. This is the nuclear weapon based on the laws of physics, Vegapunk best. But Vegapunk was so good, that more than 2 years ago he created the biological robot Pacifista, and implanted Kizaru's laser. As X-Drake was surprised to see in Sabayati in Chapter 509, that was Kizaru's laser. Aside from Kuma's body, did you successfully add Kizaru's ability to that? But recently, we saw Queen also used lasers to shoot Marco in Chapter 1006, could he be better than Vegapunk? Certainly not, but the beast still deals with the authorities through Orokai and Doflamingo. With the Joker's status, he can defeat a Pacifista, or take one with him to leave the ultimate battle, and entrust the Queen to research. Then just like Frankie indirectly learned through what Vegapunk left, after 2 years' time the skip fired a laser. However, the Queen eats ancient Zoan, which we cannot see with devil fruit techniques. Except for the type of beating flesh, which is Brachio Bomber Stunt Big Mom, Queen only uses scientific weapons. A dinosaur has no fangs, no claws, obviously it only helps Queen improve physical strength, stamina and recovery, he mainly relies on science. However, we are seeing for the first time that science can work even on devil fruit. In Queen's human mouth form, it is normal, but when transformed into a dinosaur, a gun protrudes from his mouth. It fired both normal ammunition and fired a laser at the same time, and obviously the Queen had to reload, as well as the fuel of the laser cannon, similar to Frankie's cola. He did so when he turned into a long-necked dinosaur, with no arms to work with, so did Vegapunk help Queen before? I say that doesn't really mean to downplay the second commander of the 4 emperors, since Frankie also reformed himself into a cyborg. However, he does it in human form, flexible limbs, and Queen in 4-legged dinosaur form, completely unable to do it on her own. Besides, he was more biological than physics, and no one was qualified to help the Queen, so I thought of Vegapunk. He even recreated the mythical Zoan, fed the devil fruit object, turned Kuma from human to cyborg, then completely robot, then changing the texture of Queen in dinosaur form was too normal. Perhaps he did it while they were in the same research group, or during Kaido research, Vegapunk also experimented with Queen. And later on, Queen tinkered herself, learning more to upgrade herself. But everything is probably related to the genetic device that CP0 mentioned. This is the greatest achievement that Vinsmoke Judge and Vegapunk have achieved. Is it related to Oden or not? We will get to part 2 shortly. 2 Oden is regenerated by genetic factors. As we were engrossed in discussing the latest chapter 1007, somewhere in the land of Jav, a man sat singing, "The sun shines brightly with yellow flowers, can I turn the steering wheel?" Up to now, a lot of speculations have been made, but as long as Oda sees it, he does the opposite. We are still waiting to see if the mysterious person in chapter 1004 is Hyori or Toki. Oda must have Oden appear, making the online community stir up. After confirming that Oden is dead, I have done very carefully in the previous video, so I will not repeat it to avoid wasting your time. The theory of Toki sending his wife on time travel is also impossible, when she and Oden both died 20 years ago. Is it possible to bring Oden to the future 20 years later, then back to die at the hands of Kaido? First, if he wanted to do so, Toki would have to return to the past, before Oden was executed, to take him time travel. But in chapter 920, she herself said, a man travels back in time, but it is possible to go to the future. Because the travel ticket is one ticket, there is no round trip, and there cannot be 2 versions of a human being, in the same dimension, the Toki style of the time, and Toki returning from the future. Like Kinemon, Kiku, Kanjuro, Reizo, and Momonosuke, no one grows old because they have passed time 20 years later. They completely disappeared from the dimension of 20 years ago, making it impossible for Orokai and Kaido to find them. The past 20 years have been like the blink of an eye. So it is also impossible for Oden to be transported to the future, then back again, like there are two Kozuki Oden. This hypothesis is only true in the Doraemon series, and the Toki Toki ability cannot do that. So 100% of Oden is gone, and the theories about who is disguised as Oden, I have covered it all. If the case is also not disguised, without time travel, and Oda does not revive the character, is there a possibility that it is still Kozuki Oden in flesh, but recreated based on science? Because in chapter 1007, CP0 mentioned the lineage element Vegapunk discovered, along with Vince Moke Judge. He used to use genetic predisposition, based on someone's genome, to recreate the ancient giant race. As a result, stupid numbers grew, and Kaido bought them from Punk Hazard. Perhaps this race is like Ors, stronger than the giant Elbaf, so the government is so hungry. And with research on genetic factors, the world government asked Vegapunk to build an army similar to GERMA-66, but higher. In chapter 840, Yanji led Sanji into Germa's secret room, admiring his father's accomplishments. Why soak them in water? It's culture fluid. Listen carefully, Sanji, we can produce humans. Before we were born, our father and Vegapunk set up a groundbreaking miracle. It was the discovery of the lineage factor in living organisms. With just a few small mutations, they could have had powers equal to what was thought only God had. In conventional terms, they have discovered the blueprint for life. Yanji also said that it only took 5 years for Vince Moke Judge to create a 20-year-old warrior. He designed the lives of these clones, programmed them to be absolute loyalty, and not afraid of death. Vegapunk has previously tried to design life for giants, but it is too difficult to implement, compared to ordinary warriors of Vince Moke Judge. However, he used his genetic device on Kaido's body, recreating the mythical devil fruit. And used science, mechanics, to produce the pacifist, a biological robot. They are basically not humans like Judge created them, but they are all based on the original one. If there is an original, I believe Vegapunk can also design a life for others, not fail like the numbers. And when Oden died, the body was in the hands of Orokai and Kaido, but Orokai negotiated on behalf of the authorities. Once he asked CP0 to exchange with Dr. Vegapunk, maybe they had transactions before. For example, providing Kozuki Oden's genes, for Vegapunk to research. Orokai is also very tricky and careful, he wants to have a trump card to prevent Kaido from turning around. That card was Kozuki Oden, which only Orokai and Fukuro Kyuju knew. If Oden in chapter 1007 was recreated using genetic factor technology, it would be real. And the government might also want to use the genes of the strongest figures, like Kuma, to create hegemony, completely loyal, called the SSG system. This thing is enough to replace the 7 warships, so it is clear that it cannot be underestimated. Using the breeding element to recreate life for some characters, even planning to produce artificial devil fruit, to provide for the navy, the government's ambition is great. But Vegapunk said the project failed, despite Momo's perfect transformation. Even so, the SSG is still in the works, it will soon be tested at Wano, which may be Oden in chapter 1007 as a suggestion. This hypothesis is based on my personal point of view, maybe it will not be accurate, but I still give it to you for reference. If you find it interesting, please donate the likes, share, and subscribe to a channel to support Top Shounen. Goodbye and see you again.